my name is Laura Massey from Two Feathers Medicine, back with another Prayer Sunday, and this is on the Andrew Bartsett's New Teachings platform. Last week, Dale, Matty and I were chatting on the Talking Stick show about the shaman's journey, what it takes and will take for us to hold that mantle of responsibility on this journey as being sovereign arbiters of peace, of being responsible for our own self-learning, our own self-development into self-mastery and self-empowerment and sovereignty. I took a look at that in my own life, and I went right back to my earliest dream as a child. I was about 3 or 4. I was on a tricycle at the top of a hill, and before me was one path, and it went up and down and up and down as far as I could see in the dream. There was nothing else, just this path. No trees, no flowers, nothing. In retrospect, I think that dream was showing me this was the path that I would be taking, and it would have its ups and downs, but I would be able to co-create with great mystery, great spirit, with the universe, to fill in what was missing on that path. That although life might be full of ups and downs, it would be a good long red road walk. What I'd like to do today is take the discussion we had, the shaman's journey, and put that into a teaching meditation prayer. And those of you who are listening now, you are a signature frequency match for this teaching. So this prayer is for you too. You are very much a part of this prayer, and I thank you for being here. Your energies, whether you're listening, past, present, or future, are part of the algorithm that makes up the beauty of this teaching. So sit back with me, relax. Let's go through the shaman's journey, teaching meditation prayer. Great mystery, great spirit, I call to you, so I may share these eternal words of the now, so I may hear my own voice recount some of my journey, as well as being a teaching for those who choose this path to eternal peace, who feel the frequencies of these words manifested in the now. I co-create this prayer with all those tuning in now to these frequencies, listening to this prayer service, past, present, and future. You have entered the no-time experience with me, where all potentialities exist. I call to great mystery and great spirit to hear these words of prayer from this shaman of the now. I know a shaman's journey is many lives, seen and unseen. The shaman's journey is how those of us who feel the call to do so become a living expression of peace, living lives aligned to the natural frequencies of earth. Shaman are needed in a world that doesn't know peace, doesn't know long-term immovable peace. We come to make peace meaningful. We are the ancient people of earth, reborn at this time of the great awakening and great remembering, to remind all those who beat the drums of war that the only way forward that is of any value is the way of peace. We come as the peacemakers and peacekeepers and celestial mediums of peace. We acknowledge we exist as part of a multidimensional universe. Our ancient shaman ancestors were at one with nature, with the earth. Their first imprints were from the movement of the sun, the moon, the stars. They recognized our very life force interacts with earth life force. What we would now call the earth's electromagnetic frequency, which itself is affected by our sun's coronal ejections and the solar winds impacting us and the planet as the Schumann resonance. They recognized these macro weather patterns affected our micro weather patterns. And from this, they could predict earth movements, local weather patterns, the rivers flow, the lakes, the tides, the rain, the snow, the storms. all the movements of the waters of earth, the wind directions and movements, the land itself, the soil, what crops to sow and when, the deep frequencies of using fire, how the animals lived and travelled, the flight directions of the birds. They really were our first scientists. So much of this has been lost and replaced with piecemeal clips on TV, reducing the wholeness of the experience to someone else's perspective and images from NASA or the like, giving often soulless science without the beauty of the sacred spiritual perspective. Modern shaman, no, it should be us, who feels, sees, hears, tastes and senses it all firsthand with a sense of wonderment and joy. It's our rites of passage to have this experience for everyone on earth now. Consequently, modern shaman take time to learn some of these basics, like the movement of the moon or watching the clouds, the wind and weather patterns. The more advanced pay attention to space weather, coronal activity, earthquakes, solar winds, knowing our very bodies are linked to this and our consciousness creates our local weather. A new take on blue sky thinking. And looking at the stars, we are the star watchers of old. And that's where the modern shaman looks to reclaim their ancient wisdom and rekindle that buried knowingness, the deep joy of connection to a boundless universe. So as we weave this into our lives, as we live in the world, we acknowledge that this is the challenge and the calling of a modern shaman. It's living in both worlds and communing with the seen and unseen worlds to find remedy and resolve. We're off the earth, yet in the world. Both are to be honoured, for both hold the remedy for the other. An action in one has a corresponding aspect in the other. Spiritual absence takes us out of balance, as does spiritual overload. Many of the people of earth are spiritually scattered, their souls damaged with lifetimes of trauma, and the underlying common denominator being the system of domination and control on earth that has eroded the natural way of living. Great mystery, great spirit, I know that my journey is to apply your teachings throughout my life, to recognize when something is lacking in my life, to ignore the short-term fixes offered by the system or the distractions set up as minefields on our path. There is no depth or longevity in these. Shamanism is such an ancient spiritual way that crosses all religions and has stood the test of time. It reconnects to a more innate natural way of being, reminding of our reciprocal relationship with the earth. It nourishes that sacred connection. I know to honour all cultures with their unique array of spiritual practices that hold peace, union and communion, sovereignty, and do no harm to any sentient kind as their cornerstones. I recognise I am here to show you can align and fit in spiritual practices needed for the upkeep of a harmonious life with earth, with our everyday living on earth through the lens of a modern shaman. It teaches you how to outcreate all the chaos and repetitive way of living that's depriving you of your natural growth and limiting your expansion of self-expression. The shamans are those who can transcend the limitations of the system. We are all co-creating beings. It's just that we've forgotten we are. In the apparently empty space we see outside of us are actually uni-worlds laid over our world, accessible to anyone who's prepared to put in the time and effort of discovery. It's these other worlds the shaman walks in. The shamanic practitioner is aware of this, aware of both the unseen and seen worlds. Many of us have been in training from our first birth of all our eternal births to evolve and learn these things. And we've turned up now on earth to bring back the sacred teachings, to show the old paths, the ancient ways of working with our ancestors, to make the metaphysical meaningful to our everyday lives. So long ago, I felt that feeling, that unknown something I found difficult to put into words until I truly started my own consciously aware path to self-empowerment through self-healing. It was a feeling that there's more to this world than I was being shown. We're all born through the forgetting of the birth canal. So what will it take to get back on the path of remembering? Great mystery, how do we remind our sleeping brothers and sisters that now is the time to shake off the hunting dogs of obedience to an outdated self-serving slavery system? We need to claim back the peace that was taken from us. I look back with hindsight that's been coloured by the many years of experience to a childhood of being born, like many, into a dysfunctional family. That early feeling of not belonging, not being fully seen or heard. Of course, it took many years to learn. I might have set it up that way as my own teaching, or to find karmic resolution. Also remembering that the system likes to disconnect us from our soul families. With hindsight, I now see that through my life, these situations of polar opposites have helped me in finding the sacred neutral path. I've learnt polarization, extreme views, are needed at times so that we can learn sacred neutral. I recognize now that the world gossip tells us we must adhere to someone else's choices for us. If it's not in alignment with our own sovereign choice, this will always create some form of internal angst, whether we're consciously aware of it or not. That's because our sovereign self knows what's best for us, regardless of what the global narrative wants us to believe. How often do we hand our sovereign choices over to a guru or government, a doctor, a healer, a friend? That's not to say these people or systems do not have a role to play in our lives. The beauty of a shaman's birth journey is that we practice sacred neutrality, that point of view that holds no polarity. Everything is accepted as being here for a reason, and we hold no judgment about it. It's what we choose to include in our reality is always our sovereign choice. Sacred neutral means we do not battle the chaos of the world, not engage it, not join it, not try and defeat it, not create factions and pick a side, but just allow it to be without interference or requiring any of our energy. The possibilities and potentials that can arise here if we make conscious aware choices to plant our own sovereign seeds of renewal, of co-creation with the earth, are all based in the energies of peace. So on my journey, I chose to breathe new life into my own hopes and dreams of a future of self-empowerment, self-sovereignty, a path to planting my own seeds of internal and external peace. Along my shaman's journey, I chose to be free enough to live an authentic life of self-fulfillment and purpose, not stuck in a seemingly relentless repetition of joyless survival. This has always been relevant, but now conscious awareness has expanded so much across the planet, means that potential holds far more potency to create internal answers for us that can change our very way of being. You might not recognize this expansion of conscious awareness looking at all the ostensible chaos in the world, wars, political dramas, financial vitality, basic survival for many. But woven within and weaving outside of this apparent reality is another way of being that many have already discovered, or more aptly remembered. This is the journey of the shaman. It's a medicine journey to learn what is needed to heal, mend, balance, restore, bring ourselves to wholeness. This is a reminder of how we can reawaken our natural spiritual wholeness and healing and return to the restoration of spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental well-being, giving us opportunity to get out of uncertainty, doubt, confusion and hesitation, and into self-healing, self-mastery, joy and inspiration. I say these words to the All of Great Mystery. I acknowledge our ancestors were explorers, always adventuring into the unknown in a quest to make it known. I recognize this within my modern shaman self. I know, as they knew, that great mystery will never be solved. In some ways, the beauty of life is that much of it will remain a mystery, but we get clues. We're life sleuths on an eternal quest. And I step forward on my eternal quest to the stars as I find solutions and answers, remedy and resolve, inspiration and wisdom to move on my evolutionary path. I accept there's always another layer to discover, another answer to the same question, and it shows the limitless of a perpetually unfolding universe on its own voyage of self-discovery. I know it's the experiences we have within this unfolding that create the memories that are stored in our DNA and changes our DNA. That's natural organic evolution. I know experience is how we and the universe grow together. So I have the sacred intention to enjoy my experiences to the full, to learn from the difficult and challenging ones. All experiences count, so nothing is wasted. They are what makes me, me. Aho, great mystery, great spirit. I ask you in this shaman's prayer to assist me in stepping up to the culture of daily, weekly, monthly, and seasonal practice of joyful prayer, ceremony, and ritual. In getting the sun on my face and body as often as I can, I am a reservoir of and for light, a human skin suit battery. I know I need regular recharging. Assist me in fostering a positive attitude without burying my head in the sand. I am cognitive of what is going on in the world without attachment to it or being a propaganda cog in the machine of spin. I choose to remember I create my own reality with thought, word, and deed, and most of all with the belief behind this. Great mystery, great spirit, I ask you to assist me in not taking on another's problems. I assist where I can and if I choose, remembering others are on their life path with their own life lessons and their own journey. Teach me to show compassion and understanding without enabling. In recognizing that freedom is a perception, you're as free as you choose, regardless of the system's actions. Help me in realizing you have choices, even if they are not apparent. What have you got to lose? Anything that you perceive can be taken from you is really the permission you're seeking externally to be yourself. But you never needed it anyway. You already are you. You just need to rekindle your authenticity and sovereignty. In recognizing our lives are conditioned in our unawareness by the long-standing institutions many centuries old, I become aware of their subversive influence we take on without questioning, and I work to be sure it aligns with my own truth. I practice independent thinking. Great mystery, help me examine my beliefs. They can work for me and against me. Teach me to be open to change these, to learn and grow. We have the right to have our own beliefs to live by for our own journey, but I must be prepared these can change and change them as we choose. It's one of our rites of passage to help free ourselves from situations where we become stuck or stagnant. Help me be aware of my own energy field and be responsible for it by practicing both physical and spiritual cleanliness. Aid me in taking my power back by finding ways to release any trauma with body work, massages, Tai Chi, craniosacral therapy. Help me be a free, self-willed, self-healed, self-governing, sovereign being, sourcing my happiness from myself. And help me rekindle that soul spark connection through daily meditation and to live with my mind and heart aligned. So maybe it's that spark of passion within, an internal, eternal flame that never goes out, no matter what the world throws at you. I recognized it as that part of me that was waiting to be discovered, uncovered, uncovered, loved, nurtured, excited into action, and fully experienced this lifetime. My inner shaman. This is where the inner work really starts. The healing, recognizing and acknowledging the internal and external programs that try and run us. Recognizing the conditioning from our culture, family, parents, and global narrative, and acknowledging there's no blame here, either for ourselves or those heavy influences. They are all part of what it takes. It's not an easy journey, but know if this is you, you are meant to be here in this great time-space equation to do your great work. The shaman's journey has no quick fix magic wand. It requires a depth of courage and reserve, a stamina for hard work, discipline for a daily, weekly, monthly, and seasonal practice, fortitude, honesty to yourself and others, dedication, belief, joy, enthusiasm, compassion, and application of sacred intent. Most of all, it takes the undying, eternal deep love and reverence for our ancestors and for the all of everything that ever was, will be, or is, past, present, and future. So as this shaman of the now, I say this: as children of Earth, it is now our celestial responsibility to be a celestial peacekeeper on our world. We have learnt to connect to our own heart space, how to be sovereign, to walk tall, free of the binding slavery systems of our world, no longer allowing the system to steal our sovereign moments. We have learnt to be our own courts of remedy and resolve. We have reconnected to Earth Mother and claimed our natural rights, the natural ways of living and equal co-creation with Earth. We have grown our roots deep into the earth, yet we can reach up high to face the nurturing of Grandfather Sun, just like our ancestors, the standing nations, have shown us. We've danced our hearts with the frequency of whale song, raising our voices to sing one great heart song of peace to all Earth's nations' relations. We've become our own healing with our own heart song, knowing our heart self is always singing for those who are ready to hear it, a compass always guiding us back home. We've tuned our hearts to beauty. Now we laugh and dance longer, beat our drums and sing louder, yet know what it takes to visit a sacred cave and examine the light and shadow of the self, what it takes to act from the truth of our sacred discipline, to acknowledge the unseen world and dare to travel beyond the familiar, how to build on the changes we have made, consolidate, anchor these changes and have appreciation for those changes that brought us here to the stars and beyond. Yet to know that every moment is a new moment of choice and trust. We learn the lessons of choice points and trusting our own heart self, how to journey to our own headwaters, how to leave behind outdated energies, patterns, and behaviors, those frequencies not in service to the light. We've learned to expand our own awareness, to be at one with all of life, how to melt into the beauty of our own heart space and share it with all that is, was, and will be. We understand the power of sacred ceremony, of honoring the ancestors, of calling in the 7 directions for guidance, and talking to the 4 winds. All this we have remembered through the haze of race amnesia, for these memories are stored bone deep and within our DNA. So now is the time for you, the dreamers of the great dream of peace, to take what you have learnt. Use these teachings as your stepping stones and pathway to the stars. Use the tools you have acquired to carve the next part of your journey, so you may claim your full potential, your birthright, your legacy as a shaman on the road to external peace. Aho.